Everyone complains that YouTube's recommendation algorithm pushes right-wing extremism. They're largely correct, but in 2026, at this point, that is a tired talking point. The actual lethal failure of this platform is the moderation algorithm. There is a direct line between a video YouTube deleted in 2019 and the 3 men who were just murdered at an Islamic center in San Diego. By building an automated dragnet that cannot read content, YouTube has accidentally built a permanent, unassailable shield around white supremacist manifestos. They created a safety mechanism where you are legally barred from performing an intellectual autopsy on the propaganda that drives these killers. I know this because in 2019, I tried to provide that exact autopsy and they banned me for it, or at least deleted my video. YouTube silenced the immune system, the copycats emerged exactly as expected, and today we are looking at the blood math of that exact policy. Look at the receipt. On April 3rd, 2019, YouTube struck down my video literally titled, "The Christchurch Mosque Shooters Manifesto Debunked." They claimed my critical essay violated their violent criminal organizations policy. They suspended my monetization that same day. And when I appealed, they upheld the decision to keep that video banned. And there is a terrifying tacit implication of this policy that nobody talks about. If you are a teenager falling down a right-wing rabbit hole and you stumble across a mass shooter's manifesto, you will never ever see a YouTube video logically dismantling it. Because sympathizers never see a video tearing these documents apart, they naturally assume the logic within them is bulletproof or that nobody dares to assail them. By banning the critique, YouTube inadvertently elevates the propaganda. And we just saw the result. 2 teenagers, Kane Clark and Caleb Vasquez, just drove to the Islamic Center of San Diego and murdered 3 innocent men, explicitly citing the Christchurch shooter and leaving behind a manifesto that is a cheap copy-pasted echo of the exact same ideology. YouTube's policy successfully stopped my video. It completely failed to stop another Christchurch, and the reason why is hidden in the architecture of the platform itself. To understand why this happens, you have to understand a system called the GIFCT, the Global Internet Forum to Counter Terrorism. In 2017, big tech companies like YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter realized that advertisers were threatening to pull their money because pre-roll ads were running over ISIS videos. So they formed the GIFCT. After Christchurch in 2019, they expanded it to handle mass shooter live streams and manifestos. Here's how it works. It is a giant database of digital hashes, essentially algorithmic fingerprints. If you upload a video that contains a visual or text match to a blacklisted manifesto, a bot instantly deletes it. It is a blind dragnet. It does not read context. It cannot differentiate between a neo-Nazi distributing the manifesto to inspire copycats and a Moroccan Jew tearing the manifesto apart to expose its idiocy. The GIFCT was not built to foster debate or to protect users. It was built as a corporate liability shield, and because it is completely automated, it silences the platform's immune system while the disease goes unchecked. There is no YouTube policy against the Great Replacement theory. There is no automated dragnet for rampant xenophobia. I see a new anti-Semitic video on this platform every single day. You are allowed to agree with every single foundational word of these manifestos, and YouTube will happily host you and profit off your watch time, and put some money in your pocket as well. But the exact millisecond you make a video critically analyzing, refuting, and debunking the manifesto of a mass killer, a document that is the natural outcropping of the very discourse YouTube actively hosts, your video gets deleted. That is not a system fighting against radicalization. That is a system that actively incubates it. It is the natural, logical extreme of a content moderation paradigm that protects the buildup and outlaws the autopsy. And we know the system is a failure because of the bodies left in the gap between 2019 and 2026. Look at the empirical reality. In August 2019, an online radicalized 21-year-old murdered 23 people in El Paso. In May 2022, an 18-year-old murdered 18 people in Buffalo, leaving a manifesto that literally copy-pasted the Christchurch shooter's text. You have the 2022 Bratislava shooting and the 2023 Jacksonville shooting, both carried out by incredibly young men radicalized online. Could anyone from YouTube stand before me and with a straight face claim that Kane Clark and Caleb Vasquez radicalized themselves without a single YouTube video playing a role? YouTube laid the digital bricks that became these teenagers' pathway to violence. And if YouTube is truly clean on this, They risk nothing by opening the books. I am demanding an independent, unredacted audit of the algorithmic pathway that fed these two shooters. Subpoena the watch history. Show us exactly how many videos peddling replacement theory your algorithm auto-played for them while they were saving up to buy weapons. Show us exactly how few opposing viewpoints your system presented them with along the way. But you won't. You will hide behind privacy laws because you know exactly what that watch history looks like and how ugly it is. And you know exactly how many pennies you made off the watch time that programmed these kids to murder Amin Abdullah, Mohammed Nadir, and Mansour Kaziha. These knuckleheads wrote an entire manifesto bitching and moaning and whining about Jews, and what do? What do they do as a result of their genius manifesto, their magnum opus? They go to an Islamic center and attack any Muslim that they see until they face the slightest bit of resistance. They were basically doing Zionist bidding by hitting an Islamic target. The Zionist lobby couldn't have been happier. You think pro-Israel, anti-Palestinian Jews were, crying and mewling that these knuckleheads went to some Islamic center and shot up random Muslims? They were happy, they were thrilled with what they want. The Jews are responsible for every problem in the world, but we're going to go and attack a random Muslim center. The genius of these kids. And just keep in mind, just keep in mind, these were teenagers in a tough economy who spent months saving thousands of dollars to buy Rugers and Waffen SS Camo. The weapons that they bought cost thousands of dollars. They spent more time fetishizing the aesthetic of violence than they did on the intellectual foundation of their actions. With all those thousands of dollars, y'all couldn't get no bitches? Y'all couldn't get one bitch between the two of you with the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that you spent buying a Ruger and ammo and this gun and that gun and this camo and this. You couldn't get no bitches whatsoever. Unbelievable how pathetic these losers were. Their list of saints from the manifesto that you're not allowed to quote or refute on YouTube included YouTubers like Smosh and Markiplier right next to Ted Kaczynski. These guys weren't ideological masterminds. They were brain-rotted, terminally online kids suffering from severe irony poisoning. Their internet tough guy posturing sure fell apart real quick, didn't it, on this particular excursion? Huh? When they faced actual armed resistance from a 51-year-old Muslim security guard, what happened? Did they fight back like the tough white men they were supposed to be? No, they were mugged. They died cowering in a stolen car. They deleted themselves the instant they knew it wasn't going to be a cakewalk. The instant that there was a Muslim body with a gun between them and the kids they were trying to slaughter. Pathetic weaklings. Even their own kind are making fun of them. And you know what? You're still not white. All this shit that you did, you're still not white. The Jews still control everything they control. I, as a Jew, I'm sitting here laughing at you. I, as a Jew, I'm sitting here laughing at you. Ha 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 ha! Pathetic. Thank you. That's what the Zionists are saying. Thank you. The two most pathetic losers in America. Thank God they removed themselves from this face of the planet. Thank God they deleted themselves. Thank God they had the good sense to delete themselves. The one smart thing they did in their worthless lives. And where, pray tell, are the right-wing free speech martyrs on this issue? The so-called free speech absolutists who whine constantly about tech censorship. They're dead silent, and we know exactly why. They don't lift a finger to fight for this because they tacitly agree with the killers and their manifestos. They agree with the great replacement nonsense. When a bot automatically deletes a video attempting to debunk a white supremacist document, it is right-wing censorship of the highest and most extreme order, and they love it. Imagine for a second if a left-wing tech cartel set up an automated bot that instantly deleted any video critically addressing trans rights. The right-wing outrage machine would melt down. They would hold congressional hearings. Trump would be crying on TV. But when YouTube builds an automated machine that permanently shields a mass shooter's manifesto from being intellectually destroyed, they don't say a word. If anything, they quietly celebrate. The current paradigm is logically broken. You cannot quietly profit off the radicalization pipeline, explicitly ban people from engaging with the source material, and then act shocked when copycats emerge. If outrage truly generates clicks, then YouTube must implement a moral imperative: culture jamming. If the algorithm recognizes that a user is spiraling down an extremist rabbit hole, it must be forced to serve them the occasional intermittent video that critically dismantles the ideology they're consuming. You have to introduce ideological friction. Not all the time, just some of the time. You cannot claim to be a platform built on critical culture if the only things we are allowed to deconstruct are Disney movies and video games. The burden of proof is now entirely on YouTube and the GIFCT. Prove to us that your blind dragnet has meaningfully stopped radicalization, because the bodies in San Diego prove it has only gotten worse. Enough is enough.